This is the Uptick Newswire Stock Day podcast, sponsored by InvestorsHangout.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube to stay up to date on penny stock news and interviews, public information on OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world, with your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, we have a returning guest, and I think we're going to get a lot of questions answered today. We're talking about WhereverTV Broadcasting Corp. Well, they trade on the OTC Pink, but that's going to soon to be changed. Their ticker symbol is TVTV, and with us today is the CEO of that company, Ed Ciofani. Ed, welcome to the show.
Everett, thanks for having me again.
You know, every time I turn around, they got press releases going out. Give me the recent developments of what's going on with your company and bring us up to speed if you would.
Well, I'd be happy to. A lot of when I took over this company, my plan was based on the technology and the patent of this company was that this company was going to be a major player in the OTT. And in order to do that, I had to make sure that the corporate governance was in place, proper board of directors was structured, and everything was ready to go from an internal standpoint. And then we started to redevelop the website and the apps to add all the securities parameters in place that these major content providers require. And that's what we've been doing over the last 2 years. And as you've seen by the press releases, we're trying to paint a picture here of us building this company so that it's not considered a penny stock. And as you mentioned or alluded to, we have been accepted to OTC Markets QB Ventures trading platform, which is a real kudos for us because you just can't pay your money and be a part of that platform. You have to prove to them that you have proper corporate governance in place. You have a certain number of outside directors that not internal. Stock has to be trading at a certain price. You can't be in a bankruptcy. Just a lot of really, big requirements. And as of today, we're now trading on the OTCQB.
Wow, outstanding. I know you've been traveling a lot. You do travel around all over the world. Rumor on campus is that you've been spending a lot of time in South America. What's going on down there?
Well, we've got a lot going on down there. Everett, it's funny you bring that up. Anyway, yes, I have spent a lot of time in Latin America. We have been developing our wholly owned subsidiary, WhereverTV Latino, to the fullest extent. And we have been able to develop some relationships down there that I hope to be able to make some announcements here shortly on that we think is going to revolutionize WhereverTV and the WhereverTV Latino in the Latin markets with OTT content.
Let's just stop there just for a second. What is your vision? You hear a lot about over the top, where you guys are at and what's your vision for your company?
Well, we want to be one of the big players in the OTT market. We want to take the learning curve that Netflix and Hulu and Amazon have all grown from. Netflix started off as a VOD company where they took, every movie known to man and put it on their platform. And for, a subscriber fee per month, you got to watch whatever you wanted. They recently have turned their business model into that of creating their own internal content because they realized the VOD side of things was going to get stale in order to support their growth. Well, what we've recently done is I've gone out and hired a couple of different people that are helping us develop our own internal content. Now, it won't be to the extent that you'd probably see the money that Netflix is paying, but there's hundreds, if not thousands, of producers out there and production houses that are producing some really great content. And we are fortunate enough to have access to an awful lot of it. So in order for us to be one of the top OTT platforms, I feel that we have to attempt to mimic what the big boys are doing, and what they've done to be able to generate the revenue they've been able to generate without having to spend years going through the learning curve. So my envisionment is that over the course of the next 6-7 months, you'll see some pretty significant announcements from joint venture partners. You'll see us going live with a brand new updated website and mobile apps. With that comes on the worldwide platform, we'll have about 160 channels. I think we just signed up 40 more channels in the last couple of weeks. With the WhereverTV Latino side of things, we're going live initially with 70 channels, and probably within the first 30 to 60 days thereafter, we'll add another 70 that are in the works right now, just getting some security stuff set aside. So, like you asked, my envisionment is to see us being one of the best, one of the top OTTs.
I'm a listener, and I'm listening to this interview, and I see your stock price at 24 cents, your market cap at 20 million, and I'm thinking to myself, how are you guys going to make your money? Can you elaborate a little bit on your subscription model, and how's that going to be a game changer?
Yes, absolutely. You know, a lot of the models out there right now are attempting to look like subscription, like Sling and some of the others. But the majority of the revenue is attempted to be made off of advertising, getting the eyeballs, selling the advertising. What we have gone out and done, we've gone at a little bit different route. We feel that there's a bunch of niche markets out there whereby we can go and attract 10 to 20, 30,000 subscribers from each one of these markets. And one in particular is our music TV channels. Our business model is based on sharing revenue with these artists that have already branded themselves. You saw a press release where we went out and we signed Colin Ray, Daryl Worley, and Aaron Tippin to brand ambassadors, as well as into the rev share agreement. And these three gentlemen alone could attribute to about 30,000 monthly subscribers based on their fan base alone. And with them, we're also creating content. Like Daryl Worley, for example, he has a fishing show that he's already created that will show up on Daryl Worley TV channel under the Digital Rodeo TV brand. He's got a show out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama. That's a historic old studio that he's going to be doing live shows out of there. Aaron Tippin has his own winery. He has his own aeronautical show he wants to do, notwithstanding his 25th album he wants to introduce to his fans on a subscription base. Colin Ray, 25th anniversary album, other things that he's doing. But from these guys alone, just those three, and we're in talks right now with about another 24 to a dozen and a half artists about coming on board with us. And just for their super fan and the rev share and them promoting us is enough to make WhereverTV profitable. We've got other people who have generated content that have branded themselves significantly, that we're in the process of negotiating to give them their own channel. From these people could bring another 5,000 to 10,000 monthly subscribers. And we feel that by attaching ourselves to these brands, it's the fastest way for us to brand ourselves is with somebody who's already branded themselves, as opposed to going out and spending the millions of dollars in marketing costs to brand yourself.
You know, I recently saw a press release that you also brought on, I don't know, your board or your staff, Herky Williams out of Nashville, Tennessee. What's the story on that?
Oh my goodness, Herky he's just been a tremendous asset already. Herky has spent 30 years in the music business. He was involved in ASCAP, and ASCAP is one of the three leading publisher copyright houses out there next to ASCAP and BMI. I'm sorry, CSAC and BMI. And what Herky brings to the table is not only the relationships with these artists that he's garnished over the last 30 years, but he also is going to be our lead person when it comes time to start negotiating with the songwriters and publishers and these major houses, BMI, CSAC, and ASCAP, to help make sure that the songwriters and the publishers are being paid accordingly in the music business, which if you read anywhere out there, you can tell that's one of the biggest sore spots in the music industry.
Absolutely.
And we think that Herky's going to help us with that.
You know, you just hit a really sore spot for myself. You know, I'm an avid musician. My son's a professional musician. And we talk about that at the dinner table all the time. Somebody is going to come up with a better model, and I think it's going to be a paradigm shift how artists are going to get paid. Because today people are just stealing their music and they're not getting paid. And I hope that you take care of that. Let's talk about acquisition, customer acquisition. Where are we at on the forefront of that?
Well, part of what we were just alluding to with the artists and customer acquisition is probably the same thing. And let me just go through that model. With the artist right now, you know, a branded artist, you know, they have what they call a super fan. And we've been able to identify it's about a 5 to 10% of their fan base is what would be deemed a super fan. And so instead of the artist going out and turning over music to iTunes and some of the other distributors and losing the majority of their profits on a fan base that's going to buy their product anyway, what we have done is we've identified a rev share model whereby we can help with the distribution to that super fan, and then once their super fan has basically bought the product, we then release the product to the markets. It's a similar business model as the way the movie industry works. When a new movie comes out, it goes to Regal and AMC, and it's in those houses for a certain period of time, and then they release it to their various other distributors over a course of time. We're doing the same thing with music. It's not been done in the past before. We're also doing that when it comes to certain other content providers that we're bringing on, allowing them to secure their product for an initial period of time and then releasing it to other models. The other thing that we're doing, and I bring up movies like that, is our social and digital marketing company out of LA handles an awful lot of the social and digital marketing for all the new movies that come out. And they helped us in the beginning in January up until we decided to revamp our website one more time. And they were able to garnish us in a very short period of time about 4,800 subscribers very quickly.
Wow.
Yes. And so once again, marketing is the key to any company.
Absolutely.
And how you go about spending your marketing dollars is usually the answer to your success or failure. And one of the things that I have felt over the course of my life in doing business is that if you can brand yourself with somebody who's already spent the millions of dollars that they required to brand themselves, then it's worth maybe sharing some of the revenue in order to save it on marketing and brand awareness yourself that much quicker. If that made sense. I hope that came out right.
It did. I couldn't have said it better. Go ahead.
Good. Thank you. So that's what we're trying to do. I'm not trying to go out and reinvent the wheel in the marketing. I don't want to go out and spend $20 million of shareholder money to try to, market a product when I can align myself with these companies that are excited about what we're doing and use the brand awareness that they've already generated for us. And so far, it's worked out very, very well, and you'll see a lot of that coming out of Latin America here very shortly.
With us today on Stock Day is Ed Ciofani, CEO of WhereverTV Broadcasting Corp. They trade on the OTC markets, ticker symbol TVTV. I think they're on the precipice of greatness. This is one CEO I believe in. I think he will execute, and he has been executing. Bringing that up to the forefront, where are we at on the website? Last time you was on the show, you were in the middle of redesigning your website. Can you bring us up to speed on that?
Absolutely. As of last night, as a matter of fact, we believe that I got the word from my programmers out of UK, my programmers out of Latin America, that they've pretty much got us into test mode now. So we've applied our new mobile apps into Android and to our Google Play and to iOS. We'll await their words back as to the acceptance, and we should start testing the website this week and hopefully be live within the next 7 to 10 days. And I think that not only from visibility, but also from a customer standpoint, it's really leaps and bounds ahead than where we were before. Our platform plays across every device imaginable. We've made sure of that. We recently just established our footprint for Roku and for Google Chromecast. So that's another interesting market that we'll be pursuing.
Can you give us any recent executive appointments that maybe you have on the calendar, people you're going to go see, game changers?
Not right at the moment. We are in talk to some people, but I did bring on Sandra Barone, who's an award-winning producer out of Dallas-Fort Worth area. She's produced some really neat stuff for some of the major cruise lines and one of the major travel agencies on the planet, actually one of the largest. She is coming on board to help us produce our own internal content, not only with the artists, but with some other people that we're in talks with. I also brought on a gentleman by the name of John Dash. Part of the complexities of doing what we're doing is that we have to be able to insert ads and do all that properly with the Q tones, and John brings 30 years of experience in doing that. These guys, both Sandra and John, came on board last week, and we're looking forward to getting them started.
Well, Ed, I appreciate you coming on the show. You've said a lot today. I think you've said it all. It's always a pleasure. I wish you nothing but continued success. In closing here, is there anything that we didn't touch upon that maybe you would like to get out there to the listeners?
No, I just think that if, we've worked very, very hard to build this company internally and not be so much concerned about the stock price at this point. I've always been a firm believer that if the company does what it's supposed to do and makes money, the stock will follow. And we're going to continue that theology there. We're just going to keep building this company from the ground up and do everything we can to make it as strong as possible.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. I hope that you come back in 50 or 60 days and give us an update.
I would be more than happy to, Everett. Always great chatting with you. Thank you.
This program is entirely sponsored and produced by Uptick Newswire, LLC, which is responsible for the content. The opinions and information provided on this program are those of the guests and those of the respective companies they represent, and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of Uptick Newswire. Uptick Newswire encourages all listeners of this program to do their due diligence and research when determining investment strategies that will work for them, or to seek the assistance of an investment professional. The guests of this program may have paid for its distribution and are not directly affiliated with Uptick Newswire or this station.